Jigglypuff was a character that some would say doesn't really belong in a Smash Bros. Game. She is extremely light and her down B does absolutely nothing. Of course, that's what I thought as a dumb kid, but of course we all know Jigglypuff in competitive Smash is a menace, to say the least. In her debut in Smash 64, she was the 6th best character, ranked in the B tier, and Melee, she truly shined in the A tier as the 5th best character in the game, known for how floaty of a character she is. She's definitely the heart of a glass character in Melee, where she might be very strong and have very great offensive capabilities. She still is a very lightweight character. In Brawl, however, she was dropped all the way to the 3rd worst character in the game, which is mainly because the engine of Brawl doesn't really mend well with Jigglypuff's moves. On top of that, Jigglypuff received a lot of nerfs, even to her power capabilities on her trademark rest. However, during the transition to Project M, Jigglypuff was ranked in the D tier, mainly because of the lack of players playing Jigglypuff, and the other players currently invalidating her competitively. Jigglypuff is still a great character against the Melee dominant top tiers she's known for doing well against in Melee. However, now that there's a much better mid-tier character cast in Project M compared to Melee, there is a lot more characters in Project M compared to Melee, so that means more matchups to learn, and Puff doesn't necessarily do well in every single one of those matchups. Not only that, characters like Wario exist, which I don't want to say invalidate Puff, but took a lot of Puff's concepts and basically built on them, and Wario is a really good character basically from that. The new stage list as well somewhat hurts Puff because there's a lot of smaller stages such as Green Hill Zone, WarioWare, meaning Puff has a higher chance of fighting on these stages that will make her life just a lot more harder because of how light of a character she is. It mainly comes down to Puff's inability to adapt to the newer environment displayed in Project M, which is a big reason why she isn't played that often at all. The people that do play Puff are really dedicated to the character. For example, Hungrybox is probably the best Puff in Project M, and I'm sure most of you guys know who Hungrybox is. He's a top Melee player, known for playing Jigglypuff. He was actually the best player in the world for, I would say, 3 years straight. So he's very dominant with that character and still wasn't able to beat a lot of Project M-centric characters. Talking about Puff as a character in Project M, if you're used to playing her in Melee, her character is pretty much the same. She didn't get that many changes compared to Samus and Ganondorf. No new moves, no major technical changes. It's mainly just Melee Puff in the Project M engine. Some small changes, however, is that Jigglypuff's Sing is the Brawl version of the move, so it's technically better. Jigglypuff can also Dacus and reverse Aerial Rush, just like the rest of the cast can. As far as changes to Project Plus, during the switch to Project Plus, Puff did get some minor changes, like a small buff to her weight, and some slight hitbox changes, and more consistent hitboxes on Sing, to make the move hit more often. Now, some people might be a little bit upset that Puff isn't at the same heights that she previously was in Melee, but honestly, if they were to buff the character, if they were to make Puff really, really good, I feel like that would probably turn a lot of people off, because Puff being good in Melee is already a big controversy, so if it was a controversy in Project M, I'm sure people wouldn't want to deal with it. But that being said, I don't think Jigglypuff is a horrible character or an unplayable character. She's just on the bottom end of the character tier list. I would say right now she's definitely like probably bottom 5. But that still doesn't mean she's not a horrible character. Like, people like Hungrybox have showed that they can go somewhat far with the character. So if you really love Jigglypuff in Melee, then you'll probably feel at home with her in Project M.